Hello, it's Janet here from the TIPS team, and today I'd like to share with you a project that we're working on, which is exciting. It's looking at how to have students work writing secure writing assignments using Chromebooks. An exciting project because the implications it has for our students to be writing provincial exams on Chromebooks is, obviously huge. So I'm going to share my screen. Hang on a sec. Okay, so secure exams on Chromebooks. This project is very new. We have PATs. For those of you who are in junior high schools, you'll know PATs actually happened just this morning. We had our first PAT, English Language Arts, and this coming Thursday, in 2 days' time, we have the first writing PAT with grade 6 language arts. And this solution that we're putting in place, we're trying to address the challenge of diploma exam students who are using computers and they're not able to get access to the Quest A+ writing environment from Alberta Ed. And so we're hoping to fill the gap with this other solution. So testing it, first of all, we're testing it with a small group of pilot schools in grade 6 and grade 9. So the project overview, as I kind of implied, is that we're really driven by the challenge of finding a solution for writing secure provincial exams. But the exciting bit for me is that it's a bigger picture of providing this opportunity for teachers down the road to be able to do secure writing when that's the advisable thing to do with their students at point of need. Writing a secure exam or composition on a Chromebook will reduce the number of students that require those Quest A+ codes. But it's not just that, it's also pedagogical. As you know, students write best in an environment that's familiar to them. So if they're used to writing using Google Docs, yes, it would be great if they could write exams that way too. Teachers would be better able to manage supervisory tasks if they're writing on a computer that does not have access to the internet. And of course, in diploma situations, it's mandatory that there is no access to the internet. But the idea that it can be grown across the district is certainly an exciting one. So we want to meet a short-term challenge with a solution that can be repurposed over the long time. Let's switch off my research tool. So the challenge is, according to Alberta Education, we can offer a solution like this, but the challenge we have, of course, in Edmonton is always that of scale. If a school district has a small number of schools, it may be possible for them to switch the internet off for large groups of schools. For our district, we have over 200 schools. We have thousands of students. We have students writing exams, not writing exams, all grade levels. And so we need to be able to really target the group of users in order to provide them with that tight exam writing solution. Not only that, we need the solution to be able to be replicated in other occasions. So if there's a password associated with a login, we want students to be able to, do this again next week, perhaps, then we need to have a system in place to change those passwords. So we're taking steps slowly and strategically. First of all, we have developed a proof of concept. So we know that we have a process that works. And we're starting small with a pilot group of about 8 schools. So we have approximately 5-6 elementary junior high schools, and then a couple of high schools who will be using this solution in June. And our first test is a little bit lower stakes scenario, although it's still PAT, so still high stakes in its own way, before moving to the huge higher stakes scenario of the diploma exams. But by next January, we hope we'll have a solution in place that can be used at all district schools for the administration of secured exams on Chromebooks. So the vision we have, the specifics of it, is basically using Google Classroom. The proctor or exam supervisor will distribute the exams to the students, will collect the exams from the students, and then, as in Quest A+, print the student exams, and the students will be writing those exams within that secure environment. So what we mean by that is the students will be using their Chromebooks, they will be logging in using a separate exam ID, and using that exam ID, they will, after they've logged in, they'll join a teacher's classroom and then access the assignment via the classroom. But when that assignment opens up, they'll find that within Docs, they are unable to share the document, unable to go onto the internet, unable to do anything except write the document or access a dictionary. But even within the dictionary, you can't click on any of the links to take you away from that. More on that in a minute. The image you see in front of you here is an example of what the proctor of an exam receives when the school is first set up with their proctor account. And so there is an email that is sent from District Technology, from Account Management, that gives a username and password for the proctor account. And every supervisor at the school uses the same proctor account to log in. The process that the proctor engages in is that he or she will create that class, administer the exam to the students. In order to keep track of who the students are, the proctor account is also linked to a section within Staff Zone that's just for them, that includes a link to the Google Drive of the proctor, and within which there is a folder within which they will find complete instructions, which I can show you right here. So you would have access to the lead proctor responsibilities, the exam supervisor responsibilities, and the student responsibilities, both before, during, and after the exam writing period. The proctor will also have access to a sheet within the drive of the proctor, and within the sheet there will be a list of logins for the students that are connected to the particular password for the students. And the vision that we have is that a process will be developed whereby schools will have the authority to be able to go in there and change the passwords for the students, so that when the students log in to their Chromebooks at tomorrow, they'll be able to log in with a new password, and that password will be recognized by the Chromebook. The process is not fully developed yet. That's where they're heading right now. So for the purpose of the initial testing this week, students have all been given a password that is managed centrally for them to log into those Chromebooks. Anyway, the proctors access the classroom with the shared admin login. They open the class from those lists, from other classes that would be set up by the proctor for the different rooms that are writing the exam. Here's an example of the exam template. The exam template is basically a regular template that has been shared within the proctor's drive. It's not a secure document in and of itself. So if you're interested in using this template for other writing scenarios, we're happy to share it with you. What the student will see will be the template. There will be information at the top of the template that will ask them to replace that text with their 6-digit index number. Then their login name will appear at the top of the page, and there'll be a place for them to write in a default 12-point font double spaced type, which is what Alberta Ed asks for. And at the bottom of the page, there is room for them to there's a footer where it'll say page 1 of 4 and so forth. So the template is created in line with the expectations for Alberta Ed for the template. The template appears within that locked version. So as I mentioned, they're unable to actually access that version. I would like to show you what it looks like in this video, but of course, if I open it up on my computer, I end up being completely locked down, and so I'm unable to use Google Hangouts. There's no research tool, there's no sharing at all. The only site that's whitelisted is Google Classroom, and so the student doesn't have access to their other information. The proctors of the students have joined the class using the pin provided by the teacher. At 9 a.m., the teacher distributes the student You can see the student's assignment, of course, as it's being written at any time, and they can ensure that the student hasn't logged in from a different account because the account names will be displayed as the names of the students. When the students have finished writing, they turn their assignments in, the teachers print it, the students stay for it, very much like the process using Quest A+. And of course, the proctor can also print draft copies of the assignment upon request. At the end of the exam session, the proctor is responsible for deleting the folder of files from the drive once the exam is finished and all of the assignments have been stapled to the student booklets. So as with the older process we had of writing on the desktop computers using Microsoft Word, and when those files were saved to the P drive, the person responsible for that exam likewise would go in and delete the student documents. So given our quick turnaround, as I mentioned before, we're hoping to address the issues in terms of coming up with a solution for passwords, and so that's being worked on currently. We do have some schools that are testing the solution this morning and again on Thursday. And so, of course, as we move forward, we'll hear results of how things went today and Thursday, and that will help inform our next steps moving forward. Milestones and timelines of the project. The setup was in March and April, and we collected, we did a needs survey back at that point in time, consulted with the high school EdTech leads, and explored the feasibility of the whole project, got approval from Alberta Education. And so the proof of concept really didn't start until the end of April, beginning of May, which has given us a very short time frame within which to work because we're only at the 10th of May right now. And then the testing is working through this month and next month. Pieces that we're focusing on as well have to do with risk management. So how to distributed, etc., as mentioned. Making sure how do we make sure that the exams do get deleted once they're completed. Through many drafts of the documentation support document that I showed you briefly a few minutes ago, and that draft is a living document as we receive feedback from the field. We'll also be submitting, sharing a survey with those schools that have participated in this first iteration of the tool in order to get feedback from them that we can move forward with. The templates we are distributing now, and one point that even today came to mind is that we need to ensure that the students are using the template correctly and not writing their essay within the header section of the template and finding duplicate content on separate pages. So next steps, we would like to get feedback from you. If you're interested in this project, we'd like to hear from you. Perhaps you have some bits of wisdom you'd like to share with us that can inform us moving forward as well. If you were a proctor, what would you wonder? If you were a student, what would you wonder? What would be ways you would think of trying to hack the system? Because then that will help us in preparing for things. And we'd like, of course, most of all, to have a development of a process that can be owned at the school level and repurposed when necessary at point of need by each teacher. So that's it. That's our presentation, and hopefully we can give you an update once we get feedback from the field on how our testing went today. Thanks.